The station lights dimmed slightly as the system tried to recover from the last energy surge. Screens flickered, alarms slowed, but the tension in the air did not fade. The girl stood near the center of the lab, quiet again, the glow under her. Skin had faded, but something about her felt different now, stronger and more distant. The human man watched her carefully. He knew he could not keep guessing. He needed the truth. "You said it was not always like this," he spoke gently. "Then tell me, what happened to you?" She did not answer right away. Her eyes moved toward the large window. Beyond it was space, endless and dark, for a moment. She looked lost in it, like she was remembering something far away. "My home," she said softly. "It is gone." The man stayed silent, letting her speak. "There were many like me," she continued. "We were not afraid of poison." He frowned slightly, confused. "On your world, poison was normal?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "It was part of our life," she said. "Our bodies were different. We could take small amounts. It gave us energy, made us stronger for a short time." The scientists in the room exchanged looks. This was something new, something they had never recorded before. "But not like this," the man said. "Not every day. Not for years." She shook her head. "No, not like this." Her voice became quieter. Something changed. The room felt colder suddenly, as if her memories carried weight. "There was an attack," she said. "Ships came from the sky. Weapons we could not understand." The man felt his chest tighten. "They destroyed everything," she continued. "Our cities, our people. Nothing survived." Her hands closed into small fists, not in anger, but in pain. "I was just a child," she said. "I ran. I hid. I watched the sky burn." No one in the room spoke. Even the machine seemed silent. "How did you escape?" the man asked softly. She looked down. "I found something," she said. "A place under the ground. A lab." The scientists leaned forward, listening closely. There were containers, like the ones here, she explained, but stronger, darker. The man's eyes narrowed. "Poison?" he asked. She nodded. "But not the kind we used before," she said. "This was different. Powerful." She paused. "I was hurt, weak. I thought I was going to die." Her voice trembled slightly now. "So I drank it." The room went still again. "And you survived," the man said quietly. She nodded. "At first, it burned," she said. "It felt like my body was breaking." The scientists watched her, imagining the pain. "But then," she continued, "it stopped." She looked at her hands again, and I felt stronger. The man took a slow breath. "So you kept doing it," he said. "Yes," she replied. "Every day. A little more." The data screens behind them lit up. Again, replaying old records, trying to match her story. "But why so much?" one scientist asked. "Why more than your own species could handle?" She was quiet for a moment. "Because I am not the same," she said. The man looked at her carefully. "What do you mean?" She finally turned to face him fully. "When I was in that place, I was not alone," she said. A chill moved through the room. "There were machines," she continued. "They were still working, still running tests." The scientists froze. "Tests?" one of them whispered. She nodded slowly. "I think they changed me," she said. The man felt something heavy settle in his mind. "Changed how?" he asked. She looked into his eyes. For the first time, there was uncertainty in her expression. "I don't know," she admitted. "But after that, I needed more poison than before." The room fell silent again. "And if you stop, you die," the man said. She replied, "But if you continue," he added slowly. She did not answer, because she did not know. Outside, the dark ship moved closer again. Now within range, its systems locking onto the station. Inside it, multiple figures watched her data. "Her origin matches the Lost Project," one voice said. "Then there is no doubt," another replied. "She is the one." Back in the lab, the man looked at her, not as a victim anymore, but as something else, something created, something unknown. You are not just surviving, he said quietly. She said nothing, but deep inside, she felt it too. The poison was not just keeping her alive, it was unlocking something. Something that had been sleeping inside her for a long time, and now it was slowly waking up. The station had never felt so quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the kind that comes before something goes wrong. The human man stood near the main window, looking out into the darkness of space. His mind was restless, filled with questions that had no clear answers. Behind him, the girl sat on a small metal chair, still and calm, like always, but something about her presence made the air feel heavier. The truth she had shared was not easy to accept. A destroyed world, a hidden lab, unknown experiments, and now a body that needed poison to survive. It was too much. But before he could think further, a loud alarm suddenly broke the silence. Red lights flashed across the station, sharp warning sounds echoing through every corridor. Incoming signal. A voice shouted over the system. Unidentified ship approaching fast. The man turned quickly, his heart racing. Put it on screen, he ordered. The large display lit up, showing a massive ship moving through space. Dark, silent, and far. Too advanced to be normal. The room filled with tension instantly. That ship. It's not from any known alliance, one officer said. Then what is it doing here? Another asked. The answer came sooner than expected. A cold voice echoed through the station speakers. Clear. Controlled. And without emotion. This is a retrieval unit, the voice said. Prepare to surrender the subject immediately. The man felt his chest tighten. Subject? He repeated quietly. His eyes slowly moved toward the girl. She had not moved, but her expression had changed. There was no fear. Only silence. They are here for you, he said. She nodded once. I know, she replied softly. The room erupted with confusion. You know them? A scientist asked. She did not answer. The voice on the speaker returned. Failure to comply will result in full system shutdown and forced extraction. The man stepped forward, anger rising in his voice. This is a protected station, he said. You have no authority here. There was a short pause, then the voice responded, colder than before. We do not require authority. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently. Systems began to fail across the station. Shields dropping, someone shouted. Communication lines breaking. Another yelled. The ship outside had already begun its attack, not with weapons, but with control. They're hacking everything, an officer said in panic. The man clenched his fists. They were too powerful, too prepared. This was not random. They came for one reason. He turned to the girl again. What are they talking about? He asked. What are you to them? For a moment she stayed silent. Then she slowly stood up. They created me, she said. The words froze everyone in place. The man stared at her. No. That lab, you said you found it. She nodded slightly. I did, she said. But I was not supposed to leave. A cold realization spread through the room. She was never just a survivor, a scientist whispered. She was part of something, another added. The voice on the speaker returned once more. The subject is unstable, it said. She must be contained before full activation. The man's eyes widened. Activation? He repeated. Before anyone could react, a loud impact shook the station. They're boarding. Someone shouted. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors. Metal doors bending, security failing. The enemy was already inside. The man stepped in front of the girl without thinking. You're not taking her, he said, his voice firm. For the first time, she looked at him differently, not just calm, but surprised. You don't understand, she said quietly. If they take me, it will end. What will end? He asked quickly. She looked down at her hands, a faint glow already starting to return. Everything, she replied. The sound of approaching soldiers grew louder, closer with every second. The door to the lab shook violently. They're here. Someone yelled. The man took a deep breath, his decision already made. Then he looked at her one last time. "Then we don't let them take you," he said. The door exploded open. Smoke and metal flying across the room. Dark armored figures stepped. Inside, their weapons glowing with unknown energy, cold, silent, unstoppable. "Target located," one of them said. The girl stepped forward slowly, her glowing eyes now brighter than ever. The air around her began to change, energy building, unstable. And rising, the man felt it instantly, something powerful. Something dangerous. The soldiers raised their weapons. "Stand down," one of them ordered. But she did not stop for the first time. She stepped toward them without fear, and in that moment, everyone realized the truth. They did not come to save her. They came to capture something far more dangerous. Something that was no longer just a girl. Something that was starting to wake up, and once it fully did, nothing would be able to stop it. The room was silent, but not peaceful. A soft blue light flickered from the glass container in the center. Inside it, a dark liquid moved slowly. Thick and deadly, every scientist in the room knew what it was. Poison, strong enough to kill a human in seconds, but she stood in front of it, calm and still. The alien girl looked small and weak, her pale skin almost glowing under the light, her hands shaking slightly as she reached for the container. The human man behind her stepped forward. "Quickly, stop, you don't have to do this," he said, his voice filled with worry. She did not turn around. Her fingers touched the glass. For a moment, everything felt frozen. Then she spoke softly. "I have to." Before he could react, she opened the container. A sharp smell filled the air, making everyone step back. It was dangerous, deadly, something no one should even touch. But she lifted it slowly and drank it. The room exploded with panic. "No!" Someone shouted, "She's going to die." Another voice cried. The man rushed forward, trying to grab her, but it was too late. She had already swallowed it. Seconds passed. Everyone waited, watching her body, expecting it to collapse, expecting pain, screaming, death, but none of that happened. She stood there, breathing slowly, her eyes closed, her body still. Then something changed. A faint glow appeared under her skin, like light moving inside her veins. Her fingers stopped shaking. Her breathing became steady, stronger. The man stared at her in shock. That's impossible," he whispered. She opened her eyes. They were different now, brighter, deeper, almost alive with energy. "I told you," she said quietly. "I need it." The room fell into silence again. But this time, it was not confusion. It was fear. One of the scientists stepped back slowly. "This is not normal. This is not natural," he said. The man looked at her, his mind racing. "How long?" he asked. "How long have you been doing this?" She looked at him, her expression calm, almost empty. "For 2 years," she replied. The words hit the room like a shockwave. 2 years? Someone repeated, "That's not possible. No one can survive that." But she did. She was standing right there, alive. The man felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen many strange things in the galaxy, but this was different. "You're not getting weaker," he said slowly. "You're getting stronger." She said nothing, but deep inside, she knew it was true. The poison was not killing her. It was changing her. Machines around the room started beeping suddenly, alarms flashing red, energy levels rising. A scientist shouted, "It's coming from her." The man stepped back, staring at her. "What are you?" he asked, almost afraid of the answer. For a moment, she did not respond. Then she looked down at her hands, the faint glow still moving under her skin. "I don't know," she said softly. Outside the station, far in the darkness of space, something moved, a massive ship. Silent and hidden, watching, waiting inside it. Cold eyes looked at the screen, at the image of the girl. "Target confirmed," a voice said. "After 2 years. She is finally ready." Back in the room, the man felt something was wrong. a danger he could not see. He looked at her again, at the girl who drank poison like it was nothing. And for the first time he realized she was not just surviving, she was becoming something else, something dangerous, something powerful, something the galaxy had been searching for, and whatever it was only just beginning. The station did not feel the same anymore. After that day, everything had changed. People whispered when she walked by, some moved away, some watched from a distance. No one understood her, and no one wanted to get too close, but she continued her routine, every single day without fail. At the same time, she would walk to the lower lab, where the poison was locked behind heavy doors. Security had been increased, codes changed, guards placed, not to protect her, but to protect everyone else. The human man watched from the hallway again. He'd been doing this for days now, trying to understand, trying to find answers. She entered the room quietly. The guards hesitated, but they let her pass. No one wanted to stop her anymore. Inside, the cold blue light returned. The same container, the same deadly liquid. She stood there for a moment, looking at it like it was something normal, something safe. Her hand reached forward. No fear, no hesitation. She opened it. The sharp smell filled the air again, even from outside. The man could feel it burn his throat, but she lifted it and drank, slowly this time, like she was used to it. The man clenched his fists. Every instinct in him told him this was wrong, but what scared him more was that she was not suffering. She lowered the empty container, closed her eyes, and waited. Again, the same reaction, the faint glow under her skin, the steady breathing, the quiet strength growing inside her. The machines inside the lab flickered, struggling to keep up. She's absorbing it again. One scientist whispered, watching the data. "This is not absorption." Another replied, "This is conversion." The man stepped inside the lab. This time, he could not stay back anymore. "Why?" he asked, his voice firm but confused. "Why do you keep doing this?" She opened her eyes slowly, the glow fading but not gone. "It keeps me alive," she said. "That's not possible," he replied quickly. "Poison destroys cells. It kills everything it touches." She looked at him, calm as always. "Not mine," she said. The room went quiet again. The scientists exchanged nervous looks, their machines showing numbers that made no sense. Her body temperature was rising, but stable, her energy levels increasing. But controlled. She was not breaking, she was adapting. The man took a step closer, lowering his voice. "If you stop, what happens?" For the first time she hesitated. Her eyes shifted slightly, a small crack in her calm expression. "I get weaker," she said, slowly. "And then?" he asked. She looked away. "I die." The words were simple, but they carried a heavy truth. The man felt a weight in his chest. This was not a choice for her. It was survival, but something still did not feel right. "How did this start?" he asked. "Why poison?" She was silent for a long moment, like she was deciding how much to say. "It was not always like this," she said quietly. Before he could ask more, the alarm suddenly flickered again, louder this time, more urgent. "Energy spike detected." A scientist shouted, but she already finished the dose. The man turned quickly, looking at the screens. The numbers were rising again. "That's not possible," he said. But it was happening. The glow returned under her skin, stronger this time, brighter than before. She looked down at her hands, confused. "This is new," she whispered. The machines began to fail one by one. Screens going dark, signals breaking. "We can't read her anymore." Someone shouted. The room filled with tension, fear growing with every second. The man stepped back slowly, realizing something important. This was not just a strange habit anymore. This was something evolving, something beyond their understanding, outside in deep space. The hidden ship moved closer, its engine silent, its purpose clear. Inside it, the same cold voice spoke again. "Her growth is accelerating." A pause. "Prepare retrieval team." Back in the lab, the girl stood still, her glowing eyes reflecting. Something new, something unstable, something powerful. The man looked at her, his mind racing. She was not just surviving anymore. She was changing faster than before, and whatever she was becoming, it was getting harder to control, and somewhere out there, someone was waiting for that moment. The broken door hung loose, smoke still rising from the metal edges. The soldiers stepped forward in perfect formation, their movements cold and precise. Their armor reflected the flashing red lights, their weapons aimed directly at her. Final warning, one of them said, his voice mechanical. Do not resist. The human man stood in front of the girl, refusing to move. His heart was racing, but his voice stayed firm. You're not taking her, he said. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one of the soldiers lifted his weapon slightly. Remove the obstruction, he ordered. Before the man could react, a sudden force pushed him back, but it did not come from the soldiers. It came from her. He slid across the floor, stopping near the wall, not hurt. Just moved out of the way. He looked up in shock. She was standing there, her body still. But the air around her was different, heavy, charged, alive. You should stay back, she said softly, her voice calm, but not the same as before. The glow under her skin returned, stronger than ever. Lines of light moved across her arms, like energy searching for a path. The soldiers reacted instantly. Energy spike confirmed, one of them said. Proceed with containment, another replied. They fired. Bright pulses of energy shot toward her, fast enough to hit any normal target, but they never reached her. The energy stopped in the air, just inches away from her body, frozen. The entire room went silent. The man stared in disbelief. That's impossible, he whispered. Her eyes glowed brighter, a deep, powerful light. The attacks dropped to the floor, fading into nothing. She took a slow step forward. I told you, she said quietly. I need it, but this time, she meant something. More behind her, one of the containers began to shake. The same dark poison inside it, moving violently. The glass cracked slightly. Contain that, a scientist shouted, but it was too late. The container shattered, the poison lifting into the air, not falling, not spilling. Floating, the man watched, frozen in place. The liquid moved toward her slowly, like it was being called, like it belonged to her. No, one of the soldiers said, stepping back slightly. The poison wrapped around her arm, not burning, not harming. Merging, her body reacted instantly, the glow turning brighter, stronger. Her breathing changed, deeper, heavier, powerful. She closed her eyes for a moment, then she absorbed it, all of it. The energy in the room exploded outward, forcing everyone back. The soldiers struggled to stand, their systems flickering under the pressure. She's exceeding limits, one of them shouted. Impossible. She was not supposed to reach this stage. Another replied. The man held onto the wall, barely able to stay steady. What is happening to her? He said under his breath. She opened her eyes again. They were no longer just glowing. They were shining like stars burning in darkness. Her body lifted slightly off the ground, not fully, but enough to break normal gravity. The air around her distorted, like space itself was bending. The soldiers aimed again, more aggressively this time. Full force, their leader ordered. They fired together, a powerful blast aimed directly at her. The room shook from the impact, smoke covering everything. For a moment, nothing could be seen. Silence. Then the smoke cleared slowly. She was still there, unharmed. The energy around her had formed a barrier, invisible, but unstoppable. The soldiers froze. This is beyond projection, one of them said. She's stabilizing the reaction, another added. The man looked at her, his fear turning into something else, understanding. She was not losing control, she was gaining it. She lowered slowly back to the ground, the glow still strong. I remember now, she said quietly. Everyone looked at her. What do you remember? The man asked. She turned her head slightly. What they made me for, she replied. The room went cold again. Outside the station, the massive ship powered up its main systems, preparing for something bigger. Inside, the soldiers stepped back slightly, not out of fear, but calculation. Stage 1 complete. A voice echoed through their coms. Prepare for full activation. Back in the lab, the girl stood still, her power no longer hidden, her presence filling the room. The man realized something in that moment. This was only the beginning. She was not just defending herself anymore. She was becoming what they had always planned, something far beyond human, something beyond alien, something that could change everything. And now there was no going back. The air inside the lab felt heavy, like the station itself was holding its breath. She stood at the center, no longer just a quiet girl, no longer just someone trying to survive. Now, she looked like something else entirely. The glow around her had stabilized, not wild or out of control anymore, but focused, controlled, intentional. The soldiers did not move forward this time, for the first time since they arrived. They hesitated. Their leader stepped ahead slowly, lowering his weapon just a little. Subject has reached awakening phase, he said into his comm. Permission to proceed with protocol. A voice responded instantly. Granted. The man standing near the wall felt a cold wave run through him. He pushed himself up, his eyes locked on her. Don't listen to them, he said. They're using you. She did not react. Her eyes were fixed on the soldiers, but her mind was somewhere deeper. I remember everything now, she said quietly. The room went silent. What do you mean? The man asked. Her voice became clearer, stronger. The lab, the machines, the tests, she said. It was not random. The soldiers remained still, as if they were waiting for her to finish. They were building something, she continued. A weapon that could adapt to anything. The scientists in the room stared at her, fear and realization mixing together. A living weapon, one of them whispered. She nodded slowly. Yes, she said. And I was the final version. The words felt heavy, like they changed everything in an instant. The man shook his head. No. You're not a weapon, he said firmly. You made your own choices, you survived. They programmed me, she interrupted softly. He froze. They changed my body, she continued. Made it depend on poison. So it would grow. Stronger with every dose. Her hands slowly opened and closed, energy moving under her skin like a quiet storm. The more I take, the more I become what they wanted, she said. The soldiers finally spoke again. Your purpose is clear, their leader said. You were designed to reach this state. She looked at him, her glowing eyes calm. And then what? She asked. A short pause followed. Then you will fulfill your function, he replied. The man stepped forward despite the danger. And what function is that? He demanded. The soldier turned his head slightly. To eliminate threats to the system. He said. The meaning was clear. Not protect. Not save, destroy. The man looked back at her. You don't have to do this, he said. You're not their weapon. For a moment, everything went quiet again. She looked down at her hands. The same hands that had once been weak. The same hands that had held the poison every day. I thought I was just trying to live, she said softly. Her voice carried a quiet sadness. But all this time, I was becoming something else. The energy around her pulsed once, stronger. But I also remember something else, she added. The man looked at her. What? He asked. She raised her head slowly. I remember choosing to run, she said. I remember leaving that place. Even when I did not understand it. The soldiers shifted slightly. That was an error, their leader said. No, she replied calmly. It was my choice. The room felt different again, not just tension, but resistance. The man took another step closer. You chose to survive, he said. You chose to keep going. That means something. She looked at him. And now I have to choose again, she said. The soldiers raised their weapons once more. Decision time has ended. their leader said. Submit, or be forced into compliance. The station shook slightly as the large ship outside powered up. Preparing for a full extraction, the man felt the pressure building. If they take you, he said, they will control you. She knew that already. She could feel it deep inside. The programming, the design, the purpose they gave her. But she could also feel something else. Something they did not create. Something they could not control. Her choice. The glow around her grew brighter. But this time, it was steady calm. I understand now, she said quietly. The soldiers locked onto her position. Then comply, their leader said. She shook her head slowly. No, she replied. In that single word, something changed. The energy around her shifted, not wild, not unstable. Focused, the man felt it instantly. She was not activating as a weapon. She was deciding what to become. The soldiers reacted immediately. Contain her. They fired again, but this time, she did not just block it. She moved faster than before, faster than anything they expected. The attacks missed completely. The room filled with motion and light. The man watched in shock. She was not just powerful. She was in control, and for the first time. She was not fighting because she had to. She was fighting because she chose to. Outside, the ship's systems paused for a moment. Unexpected behavior detected, a voice said. Inside the lab, the truth was clear now. She was never just a weapon. She was something more, something they failed to predict, something that could not be controlled. And now, she had made her choice. The lab was no longer just a room. It had become the center of something much bigger. The air trembled with energy. The walls cracked under pressure. Lights flickered like they were about to give up, but she stood in the middle of it all, calm, steady, certain. The soldiers surrounded her again, weapons ready, systems locked. But this time, they were not in control. The human man watched from a distance, his heart still racing. But now there was something else inside him, hope. She had made her choice, and it was not the one they expected. Final command, the soldier leader said. His voice louder now, more urgent. Submit immediately. She did not move. Instead, she looked at him, her glowing eyes clear and focused. I am done running, she said. The words were simple, but they carried power. The soldiers did not wait anymore. Engage. They attacked all at once. Energy blasts filled the room, fast, deadly, unstoppable. But she stepped forward, and everything slowed. The attacks bent around her. Like space itself refused to let them touch her. The man watched in shock, his breath caught in his chest. She raised one hand. The energy in the room gathered, pulled toward her like gravity, not wild, not chaotic. Controlled, the attack stopped midair, then turned and moved back toward the soldiers. They tried to block, tried to escape, but it was too late. The energy hit them, forcing them back, their armor failing, their formation breaking for the first time. She's overriding the system. One of them shouted, impossible. Another replied, but it was happening. She was not just resisting, she was dominating. Outside the station, the massive ship reacted instantly, its weapons powered up, aiming directly at the station. Inside, warning. Alarms screamed again. They're going to destroy the station. Someone yelled. The man looked at her, panic rising. If they fire, everyone here dies, he said. She heard him, and for a moment, she closed her eyes. The glow around her expanded, reaching beyond the lab, beyond the walls into the station itself. The systems around them stabilized suddenly. Lights returned, alarms slowed. What is she doing? A scientist whispered. The man watched carefully. She's connecting, he said, to everything. Outside, the ship prepared to fire, its weapons fully charged. Final strike ready, a voice echoed inside it. But before the command could be given, something touched it. Not physically, but through its systems, a signal, a presence. Her inside the lab, her eyes opened again, brighter than ever before. I can see them, she said softly. The man stepped closer, then stopped them. He said. She nodded once. The energy around her focused into one point, then expanded outward, not as destruction, but as control. Outside, the ship's systems froze, weapons shutting down, engines stalling. What is happening? A voice inside the ship demanded, "We are losing control." Another shouted. Back in the lab, the soldiers dropped their weapons, their systems completely disabled. The fight was over, but she was not finished. She stepped forward slowly, looking at the soldiers. "You made me to destroy," she said, her voice calm but strong. "But I choose something else." The man felt a deep breath leave his chest. She turned toward the window, looking out at the silent ship. "For 2 years. I drank poison," she said, her voice softer now. "I thought it was the only way to live." She paused. But it was not just survival. She continued, it was becoming. The glow around her slowly began to fade, not disappearing, but settling, controlled, balanced. She looked back at the man. "I am not their weapon," she said. He nodded. "I know," he replied. Outside, the ship drifted, powerless, no longer a threat. Inside the station, everything became quiet again, but this time, it was different. Not fear, not tension. Peace. She walked slowly toward the center of the room, her steps light, but certain. "What will you do now?" the man asked. She stopped for a moment. "I don't know," she said honestly. Then she looked at him again. "But I will choose it myself." The man smiled slightly. "That's enough," he said. She turned back toward the window one last time, the stars shining in the distance, a new path waiting. And as the station stood safe once again, one truth remained clear. She drank poison every day for 2 years. Not to die, not just to survive, but to become something more, something stronger, something free.